Hey there, good morning, everybody. I want to welcome you here to the Prog Monster. And yes, welcome to the Progverse, to Into the Progverse. This is a series of episodes that we do. Well, we haven't really locked down a time yet, have we? So we tried Saturday morning, but had problems with construction going on. And then we tried Sunday morning and had trouble with the computer. Not so much the computer, but the internet was kind of sluggish. So it's trying to get into this thing for about 5 minutes. Anyways, into the Progverse. This is the show that we're doing today. It's the first episode of this show, which is called 1970s Ranking the Hard Rock Albums, or Ranking the Hard Rock Rankings, however you want to say it. Anyways, today we're going to do Kiss. Now, Kiss is a band that is very controversial. Many people love them, but just as many hate them. I used to be a member of the Kiss Army, of course, and was a big fan when I was a teenager. Probably started when I was 12, maybe 11 or 12. Went right up until I was about 15 or 16. Actually, probably went a little bit longer, but my fanhood kind of drifted a bit when I got to about 79 or 80. After that, I started kind of moving away from them. They weren't really producing the same type of music that I had grown to like from the 70s. And they seemed to go through a transitionary period, to be honest, where they went from being what I would call a hard rock band, or a glam hard rock band, if you prefer. And then they switched and started trying different things. They tried some pop, they tried some disco, they tried some serious pop. They then tried to do some progressive stuff. I don't think any of these were necessarily greatly successful. I didn't mind any of that, though. I didn't dislike any of their albums. Just I preferred the earlier stuff. Same when they got to Creatures of the Night. I thought it was a good album, but it didn't really sound like them in some ways. And I think the reason, I found out years later, it really didn't sound like them because it wasn't them. They had all kinds of different people playing music on the album. It sounded more raw and much better instrumentation in a lot of ways. And I knew Peter was gone by then, so I knew that whoever was drumming was a better drummer, obviously. And it's not that Peter was necessarily a bad drummer. I don't think he was. I just think that for what they were doing, he was good. But there was lots of people out there that had more talent. So the same with Ace. Ace was a good guitar player, maybe better than good. But of course, there's always guys in that field that are probably better. And by that time, they had a ton more money, so they could get who they wanted instead of just auditioning somebody who tried out, right? But yeah, so then, and I didn't mind Lick It Up either, but that was kind of the end of the road for them, for me. Once I got to Lick It Up, all semblance of interest in the band started to wane, and I didn't care for anything going forward. I don't think I've ever owned an album after Lick It Up going forward. Even the Psycho Circus, which I thought about buying because it was featuring the original four in costume, seemed like it could be, if all four of them were doing again what they used to do, could be another great album. But I had my suspicions that that was actually going to happen. Figured it wouldn't happen, mostly because I didn't think Gene and Paul were going to give Ace and Peter much leeway in what was written and not written on the album. It seemed illogical for them to do that, since clearly they still didn't like them. They basically wanted them back for nostalgic, well, maybe not nostalgic reasons, but more for trying to reboot that 70s style and get more of those fans back in their fold. I kind of get that. It makes financial and makes a lot of sense for the band in many ways, but I never thought they wouldn't relinquish any of the control. That was for certain. So I never bought the album, and I haven't bought anything from them since about 84, I think. I think it was 84 that Lick It Up came out. Yeah, because it makes sense. Unmasked was in, I think, in 81, and then you got The Elder, which I think was in 82. Creatures of the Night in 83, and then I guess it would be Lick It Up in 84. That makes sense to me because Dynasty was in 79. I don't know, maybe Dynasty and Unmasked were in the same year, but I don't think so. I think Unmasked was in 81. Without going back and looking, which I'm not going to, I think that's the order in which they went. So for me, their 1970s discography is what's important in my musical history. Almost all those albums I have, I listen to them not every week or every month, or even maybe some of them I probably haven't had off the shelf this year yet, but I generally do listen to their albums once in a while. So I'm including the live albums for Kiss here. A lot of bands I wouldn't, because they've got a lot of live albums, but in the case of Kiss, their live albums are very substantial to their music discography, both live and Alive 2. Both, I think, very substantial. I also include it here in the ranking. We're going to do the solo albums, the 4 solo albums that came out on September 18th, 1978. So I included all 4 of them, except for I don't own the Gene Simmons album anymore. I've tried to replace it, but there just seemed to be, and I don't, for most of you know, I don't really shop that much online. I mean, I probably could find it online for a good price or something like that, but I just can't be bothered. I'm not much for having things delivered to my house. So I tend to like to go and hunt for these things. It's kind of like hunters. They could go to the store, or they could go to somebody and buy the meat if they wanted it, if that's all they wanted, but they don't. They like to kind of hunt for it. It's the same kind of thing, except for I'm not hunting animals. I'm just hunting CDs. But anyways, yeah, for me, it's the hunt. There are some albums, once I'm out there for a while, I've learned there's certain groups, especially those ones who never made it big here in North America. Those ones often you can't buy anywhere here unless you go to Toronto or one of the big city centers and you find a guy who specializes in imports. I guess you could do that, but then you'd have to take the bus there, or in my case, I could take the GO train to Toronto, but I don't really want to go to Toronto. It's not a place I want to visit anymore. At one time, it was my hometown, but it doesn't resemble anything like what it once did, so I don't really want to go there anymore. I never shop Amazon if I can help it. I don't like any of the things they do, and I don't want to promote their business, so I don't go to them at all. The only thing I will do is I go to Laser CD or Laser's Edge CD in the US, a company run by Ken Golem. Most of you will know him if you watch Sea of Tranquility. I like the stuff that he puts out. He has a lot of the stuff that I want to get. Yeah, it's a little more pricey, not because of what he's doing, but because of the exchange rate is ridiculous. I don't blame him for that, though, and I don't blame him for the delivery charge, too. So if he took those 2 things off, I could buy twice as much from him and be happy, but that's the way it is. And so that's my whole kind of spiel when it comes to buying CDs. I like to go and find them. Now, I do have a record store here in Kitchener called Encore that I go to for almost all my stuff, because they always have a lot of stuff I'm looking for. They don't have a lot of that hard to get imported stuff. That's why I go to Laser CD and that, but I don't go to Laser CD that much because of exchange rate and that, which I've already explained. So that's the reason why it's taken time to find certain albums that I'd like to have. I guess I could go online. Whenever there's a garage sale or anything, I go and I buy everything. Like I just go buy the whole box and take it home. And the last couple of times I've done, I don't think I got a single CD out of it that I wanted, but I got the cartridges and the jewel cases, which are hard to find. You can order them online again, but I don't do that. I do go to There's a secondhand store that the chain, can't think of the name of it right now. Anyways, they will sell you jewel cases too, but they're kind of cheap and flimsy and break easy. So by getting the ones at the yard sale, I usually get stronger, harder ones, and so I will then take the CDs out of them that I don't want and put them into older, maybe not so good CD cases, and then I take them and trade them in for a chance to get an album or two. So that's generally how I operate. I know it seems kind of ridiculous, but that's just the way I am. Anyways, we're going to today rank the studio albums from the 70s. Well, we're actually ranking all of the CDs from the 70s, with the exception of Double Platinum. I decided not to rank that one because, first of all, I've never owned it. I've never had really reason to own it because I've always owned all of their stuff, and that's just a compilation of all their stuff. So I didn't see a point to get it, so I never bought it. And so I'm just going to rank the studio and live and the solo albums from Kiss from the 1970s. So I think that's a total of maybe about 13 or 14 albums. It's a lot for a short time period because they didn't even make the first one until 74 or 73. I think it was 74. Yeah, I think it was early 74 they made the first one. So I'm in about a 6-year period. They put about 13 albums. So nobody could ever say they didn't produce. They always did. So when we'll do this in the normal fashion, when I do a ranking, we'll go from my least favorite to my most favorite, kind of give a reason why they might be as low as they are. There isn't really, I'll be honest, I've been looking at them. There's no albums here I dislike. Not even the last one. I don't dislike any of them. But I don't absolutely love any of them except for maybe the top 2 I do. Well, maybe the top 3 I love quite a bit. But the rest of them just kind of in the middle there. I like them, but I don't love them. And so we'll do that. We'll go from the one that I like the least to the one I like the most, or worst to first, whatever you want to call it. These, of course, are just my opinion of the album, and most people know that. Who have common sense will know that it's just my opinion because I can't give them your opinion because I don't even know it. But anyways, let's get underway with it. So the first album on this list, so I'm going to count them first so I know how many I'm dealing with here. Yeah, so I was right. There's 13, including the one that's missing, the Gene Simmons album. So the bottom one for me is one of the solo albums. I have to admit, I liked it a lot more when I was younger because I love this guy's voice. I think he's the best singer in the group. I wished he'd done something a little bit more on the rock side, but he wanted to do what he wanted to do, so I'm not going to fault him for that. There's, of course, we're talking about Peter Criss' solo album here. All these solo album covers are great murals of the band members. I think they're great. It's really well, tastefully done. All in green, which was his color. You've got a total of 10 tracks on here. I would say about half of them I like. You Matter to Me, I like that. Tossin' and Turnin', kind of like that. Don't Let Me Down, that's probably my favorite track on the album. Kiss the Girl Goodbye is okay. And I Can't Stop the Rain. Those are the ones I kind of like. The rest of them, I kind of don't pay much attention to. That's the kind of sugar Papa likes, really. Yeah, so this will come in at number 13. Peter Criss' solo album from Kiss, under the Kiss label. Next up, yeah, probably the Gene Simmons album would fit right here. Now, I liked that album quite a bit more when I first got it, when I first owned it, because I was a big Gene Simmons fan early on as well. By the time the album came out, he wasn't my favorite member, but I still liked the album. There's some stuff on there that's really good, and I think his vocal performance is much better than any of their other albums. To be honest, I think their vocal performances on all 4 albums is one of the big reasons why they did well. They're all 4 of them have good vocals for these solo albums. Gene's no exception. He does a couple songs on the album that are kind of reminiscent of Beatles sound, which I like quite a bit. And then, of course, there's Radioactive and Living in Sin at the Holiday Inn and Tunnel of Love, which are all okay songs. And then the rest of the album's kind of forgettable. So I think it's a little bit better than Peter's because it's rock as opposed to what Peter did, but not much better. I think, yeah, significantly better, but not that much better. So that'll be my number 12. Now, number 11 is this album, Dressed to Kill. Never really cared much for this cover. It's kind of a weird cover. I don't know what they were trying to achieve here, but it's not terrible, but it just doesn't make any sense. But anyways, this is their 3rd studio album released in 1975, just before the Kiss Alive album, I believe. Like I think this came out early in the year, and then the live one was a little bit later in the year, if I'm correct. So you got some really good classic stuff here, but this album's thin. If you know what I mean, it doesn't have any meat to it. It feels like they recorded it in a jar or something. I'm not sure. So maybe not the best of production sound. Songs are good though. Room Service, Two Timer, Lady in Waiting, Getaway. One of my favorite songs, Rock Bottom, although I do like the live version better. Come On and Love Me, Anything for My Baby, She, Love Her All I Can, and Rock and Roll All Night. So it does have quite a few songs that were big songs for me, and perhaps the reason why it's lower on the list, like Come On and Love Me, Rock Bottom, Rock and Roll All Night. These were 3 big songs for me in the day. Of course, all of them from the Alive album more than here, but I still like them a lot. But Rock and Roll All Night's a song I don't care if I ever hear again. I've overheard it. It's played probably more than any other song from Kiss for me. Come On and Love Me, I like the other version better. Same with Rock Bottom, both of them. So it's a decent album. It's good. It passes. I just don't get the cover, and it's a little thin on the thin sound. Next up is their 79 release, Dynasty. This one stood up a little better than that one because I don't know any live versions of these songs. I do like most of the stuff here. There's a few songs on here that I could live without. X-Ray Eyes. I'm not a big fan of that song. The only song Charisma from Gene Simmons is good. I like that. Dirty Living has been much better for me over the years. I've grown to like it because of Peter's voice. The three Stanley songs, I Was Made for Loving You, Sure Know Something, and Magic Touch, all good songs. I've always liked them. Sure Know Something was probably my favorite of the 3 in the days when it was out. And then, of course, all the Ace songs, Save Your Love, Hard Times, and 2000 Man, all good. Maybe their best songs on this album. And it's a good album. I don't think it's a great album. It had, of course, was the beginning of that change of their sound. I was disappointed with that. I wanted more of what I had heard from the 70s, the earlier albums. The production's good, though. This is one of the better produced albums. The other thing about this album is that it kind of has that flavor from their solo albums. It's kind of the first one that had that flavor, and because it has that flavor, the vocals are much better on this album. So anyways, this is my number. Where are we at now? This is number 10 on the list. So it's a top 10 Kiss album for me, really. Next up, this was an album I liked quite a bit when it came out. Album covers among their best, maybe my favorite album cover, close to my favorite album cover. Love Gun. Even though my friend had a cheesy monotone record player, and this album wasn't kind of monotone sounding. I still liked most of the stuff on here. Some stuff hasn't stood the test of time, really. The big tracks for me on here is I Stole Your Love, Shock Me, Love Gun, of course, Almost Human, and You Got Love for Sale. I do like Christine 16, but I'm not going to say too much about that song. Sorry. I would suggest that this is the end of an era, really. This is the last studio album that kind of had that early Kiss sound. Although I always break the Kiss sound into 3 stages. So you got the first 3 albums, which are the production's not so great on any of them, but the songs are great. Then you got the second 3 Kiss solo studio albums, which the production is better. The songs are different and not as raw sounding, and maybe not as many good ones. And then you have the post Kiss Alive 2 era, which is very different altogether. So anyways, yeah, so this one will be number 9. Number 8, Paul Stanley's solo album. This is the beginning of the albums that I really kind of like a lot. Still like a lot. This one, Paul's voice is fantastic on this album. Of course, the artwork is the same as all the other ones. Fantastic. He's got some really top-notch songs here. Tonight You Belong to Me, Ain't Quite Right, Take Me Away, Together as One, Wouldn't You Like to Know Me, Love in Chains, which may be the best track on the album, Hold Me, Touch Me, and Goodbye. Goodbye is another really good one. So there's most of the stuff on here is good. He doesn't have any really bad songs. None that really come to mind. Yeah, I don't dislike anything here. The whole album is pretty strong and has aged pretty good too for me. I think it's actually, I like it probably more now than I did then. I did like it then, but I think I just like it a little bit more now. His voice is, arguably the best voice in Kiss. I prefer Peter, but he still has a very smooth, operatic almost voice for a guy with a very New York accent. It's kind of strange, but yeah. And the cover's good too. So that's my number 8. So next up is my number 7. This album, their debut album, very raw sounding, sounds very amateurish in a lot of ways, but the songs make this album great. It's got a kind of sound that you just don't get on any of the other albums, I think. It's raw, great tracks, very distinctive. Not easy to know who's singing all the songs when you first listen to it, but after a while it becomes easy. This has arguably among the best Kiss songs: Strutter, Nothing to Lose, Firehouse, Cold Gin, Deuce, 100,000 Years, Black Diamond, all top shelf Kiss songs. The only songs on here maybe that aren't the Love Theme from Kiss, forgettable. Let Me Know is okay. And where's the other one? Kiss in Time. That could go down the toilet as well. But for the rest, and I do like the photo. It's a nice photo of them. It's very basic, very beginning Kiss sound. And everybody's makeup is a little bit different than it normally ended up being. And of course, you've got your Beat It Kiss logo at the top. Yeah, it's a good album. Again, not one of my favorite Kiss albums, but still a good one. So that's number 7. Number 6. This one will come much higher on people's discography, I'm sure. Hasn't really stood the test of time for me. I did a video on this too. I think it's largely Burnout, but also I just don't really like the overproduction sound to it as much as I do on other bands with production. There's a lot on here. Kiss Destroyer, the album cover, of course, is great. One of their best covers. Same guy who did Love Gun. It's produced by Bob Ezrin, so it is a top shelf album for sure. Detroit Rock City, Shout It Out Loud, and Beth are the three big kind of songs on this album, most memorable, anyways. And that's funny. I don't. Oh, there's Beth. Sorry, but I don't really care if I hear any of them anymore. I've played them too many times that it's been years since I really paid attention to those three songs. Probably Detroit Rock City is the one that I like the least because it's overplayed to the point of killer. King of the Nighttime World, which is the kind of backup to Detroit Rock City, is good. It was never one of my favorite songs. I like it probably more now than I did then, though. God of Thunder, I think, is a little thick. I don't know what to say about it. It's got its good points. Obviously, this is the fire breathing one, or is it the blood spitting one? I think it's the blood spitting one, actually. It's good for what it is. Great Expectations, not a great song. I liked it more in the old days. Don't care for it much now. And then the other three songs on it I like, which are the songs that bring the album up: Flaming Youth, Sweet Pain, and Do You Love Me. Do You Love Me is probably the most underrated Kiss song out there. Still one of my favorites, and probably my favorite on this album, but I do love Flaming Youth quite a bit too. So this album coming number 6, Destroyer. So number 5 is the first of the live albums, Kiss Alive 2. I love the cover, especially this back cover is really good. Really captures them live, especially Gene Simmons here. Awesome. There's a little bit of a screechy element to this album. It's almost like they've turned up the volume to a ridiculous level, and you're getting a lot of screechy distortion, which, maybe it isn't so much as I think it is, but it just feels like it is. Maybe because I noticed it and I can't turn off that switch. I'm not sure what it is, but it's got some of their classic stuff. But a lot of this stuff I've kind of burned out on Detroit Rock City, I've already said. Ladies Room overplayed too. Making Love is probably my favorite track on this album. I do like Love Gun quite a bit, but it's overplayed too. Calling Dr. Love, another heavy song, maybe a little too screechy. Shock Me, the guitar solo is overhyped, but it's still a great song. Hard Luck Woman is probably the best Peter Criss song as far as vocal parts go, but it's not my particular favorite, but it probably is. Side disc 2 with starts out with I Stole Your Love. That's one of my favorite Kiss songs altogether. And then you've got Beth, God of Thunder, I Want You, all 3 tracks I could live without. Shout It Out Loud's good on this, but I think it should be earlier in the mix, to be honest. It's the backside album, which isn't even live. The final side that I like is the side I generally like to listen to the most. I like All American Man, Rockin' in the USA, and Larger Than Life, and Rocket Riot, all great tunes. The last one, Any Way You Want It, I could do without that one. But other than that, still a strong album. Comes at number 5. Number 4, I love this cover. It's one of my favorite of theirs. I love this album. It's one of my favorite of theirs. It's always been one of my favorite of theirs. Hasn't diminished like some of the other albums have. Still holding its place here. Number 4, Rock and Roll Over. The tracks on here I love, except for I'm not a big fan of I Want You too much. This version is easier to take than the live version. It's not as much screeching. Take Me, this is an underrated Kiss song that deserves more attention. Calling Dr. Love, of course, this version I like better than the live one. Ladies Room, pretty good song, but overplayed. Baby Driver is one of my favorite Kiss Peter Criss songs. He's just right on the money with this. Love 'Em Leave 'Em was my favorite when I first got this album. From this album, I love this song. It's one of Gene's better ones. Mr. Speed, I probably don't like it as much as I used to, but I don't mind it. You See You in Your Dreams, and Hard Luck Woman. Making Love is the big track on this album for me. But it's a good album from top to bottom. Strong. The vocals are good. This is a hard rocking album, one of their harder rocking albums. It's got a little bit of more of a raw nature to it too than either. It's harder than either Love Gun or Destroyer. It's got more of a raw nature than either of those two albums. Not as overproduced. I think this is more fitting with their original albums, but with a little better productions. Next up, in the third spot, this album was maybe higher at one point. I've always loved this, despite the murkiness of it. Hotter Than Hell. I love the Japanese flavor to the cover. I like this stuff on the back, especially the Ultimate Kiss guy in the middle there. Always like that. It's got 10 tracks. All the tracks on this are strong. If there's a negative about this album, it's the sound quality isn't great. It's murky. It's very slow and melodic album, but a hard rock album, one of their hardest, I think. It's the side one with Got to Choose, Parasite, Hotter Than Hell, and those three tracks I like a lot. The other two, Going Blind and Let Me Go Rock and Roll, are the two weakest tracks on the album. It's side two that I really like the most. It's the stronger of the two sides. All the Way, Watching You, Mainline, Coming Home, and Strange Ways. I love all 5 of these tracks quite a bit. Probably this is the best of the songs that Ace didn't sing that he wrote. Strange Ways and Parasite are both top shelf tracks. Strange Ways didn't get as much of attention, but it's still a great track. And I think he played this on his solo tours as well quite a bit. So there you have it. Hotter Than Hell, number 3. Number 2, this is not going to surprise anybody, Kiss Alive. This was my first ever album I owned. This has really good listening to. Almost all the songs on here are better than they are on their studio versions. Some of my favorite Kiss stuff songs are on here. Deuce, Strutter, Got to Choose, Nothing to Lose, Come On and Love Me, Parasite, Watching You, Black Diamond, 100,000 Years, Rock Bottom. These are all, to me, the definitive versions of these songs. Rock Bottom, probably my favorite on this album, although both Strutter, Deuce, and Nothing to Lose really strong too. The Black Diamond here is really strong. I forgot to mention that. The version on here is killer. It's a killer. Like this is just a near perfect album. There's a few tracks here I don't care for different reasons. Hotter Than Hell and Firehouse, I think, are overplayed, the same as Rock and Roll All Night. All 3 of these songs are overplayed. I don't really like listening to them much anymore. I never really cared for that song, and Let Me Go Rock and Roll, pretty much the same. I never really cared for that. Firehouse and Hotter Than Hell I liked a lot initially, but I think I kind of overplayed them, so I don't listen to them much. Watching You is another great track off of here. Kind of heavy. I think it's one of Gene's, if not Gene's, best song ever. Anyways, Kiss Alive, number 2. And number 1 is not going to come as any surprise. Ace Frehley's solo album comes in number 1. I love this album. Most of the tracks here, Rip It Out, Snowblind, Ozone, What's on Your Mind, I Need Some Love, and Fractured Mirror are all among my favorite Kiss. If I was doing a top 25 or 30 Kiss songs, all of those would be on them. No doubt about it. Those are all just great tracks. It's got a couple of weak sisters here. Speeding Back to My Baby might be the only track on here that I don't really care much for. I don't mind it, but I don't. It's not a track that I think of much. Wiped Out is another one that I'm not as crazy about. New York Groove is a good tune. It's just, to me, it's a little too commercial sounding. I think the rest of the album was fantastic, though. So this is going to be my number 1 today for Kiss, ranking number 1, Ace Frehley's solo album. So we're just going to do a reboot of these. Number 1, Ace Frehley's solo from Kiss. Number 2, Kiss Alive. Number 3, Hotter Than Hell. Number 4, Rock and Roll Over. Number 5, Kiss Alive 2. Number 6, Destroyer. Number 7, the debut album. Number 8, Paul Stanley's solo. Number 9, Love Gun. Number 10, Dynasty. Number 11, Dress to Kill. Sorry, I was thinking something else. Number 12, which is the one I don't have, is Gene Simmons' solo. And then finally, Peter Criss's solo coming in at number 13. So that's the way I rank them. If you want to rank them, you can rank them too. You can give me your list or tell me which ones you like the best. And if you don't like them, if you don't like Kiss, you don't have to say a word. But please hit the like and subscribe, since that helps the channel. I hope that you guys will like this video when you see it. In all likelihood, I was considering this, strongly considering it. Now I think I probably will do it, is I will alternate this show with Hammer of the Gods. So 1 week we will have a live stream with Hammer of the Gods, and the other week we will have a live stream with this album, this series here, which will be the hard rock ranking, this 1970s hard rock ranking. That's what we're going to call this. So that will come out every second week on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. That makes more sense for me. That's a good night for me to do it. The morning shows are not so good. The problem is that you don't know if you're going to get noise, or sometimes the internet takes a while to kick in here, like it did today. Wasn't too late. I think I missed a couple minutes, but other than that, it was great. So anyways, I thank you all for showing up for my Kiss ranking, my first show on this 1970s album hard rock rankings. I'm going to get this. Maybe I should just change the name. Maybe I will. Anyways, thank you for your attention, and we will see you very soon. Take care and goodbye.